You've been running promoted listings for a month or even longer, but you're not really sure what to do with all that data. You're not getting the results you want, but you really don't know what to do about it. Let's talk about that. Hey, I'm Duthie. I'm here to help you craft your career, specifically selling art on Etsy. So if that's something you're interested in, don't forget, hit the subscribe button and come back every week. And today is our third video in a series about promoted listings. I'll link in the end screen at the end of this video to the other two if you haven't seen them already. But today's video is all about using our analytics once our promoted listings have been running a while. So I would advise to make sure that your promoted listings have been running at least a month, and that way you've gathered some decent data. And so long as you've set them up all right and they're not costing you too much, leave them for the month and don't touch them. It takes a few days for any changes you make to settle down into what's going to be their regular value. So don't keep changing things about. Change things or set things up and leave them to run for about a month, and then we'll check on the analytics. And to check the analytics, the first thing we need to do is to get into our promoted listings dashboard. And we do that from our seller dashboard, click on marketing and then promoted listings. And the first thing I want you to do is just have a quick look at some individual days. In the date range, pick custom dates and pick the start and end date to be the same day within the range that you are running promoted listings, at least a week after you started, so they've all settled down. And this shows you the graph for that specific day. Now, if you have a graph that looks like this old one of mine, what this is telling you, basically, your impressions build up through the day, and then at a point of the day, they just shut off. What's going on here? Well, basically what's happening is, at the point where they shut off, I've spent all of my budget. I've blown through my budget, and so at this point Etsy switches off my promoted listings for the day. The next day they get reset and it starts all over again. But this is a problem because my promoted listings were switched off here before the majority of the buyers are even online. So really what you want to see is a chart that looks like this. The impressions start low because it's the middle of the night, and they build up through the day to a peak at, it's usually when the most American shoppers are online. So that's from early afternoon through into early evening. So if you're getting a chart like this, now if your impressions are really high, if you're getting a real lot of clicks, and if you're getting a lot of sales, then perhaps all that's happened here is your daily budget just isn't enough. You want to increase your daily budget. But if we're totally honest, with most of us this just is not the case. You're not getting enough views and clicks. This is just telling you that your cost per click is too high. So my graph like this was from October of last year. I just put my cost per click up to, I think it was 10 cents per click, just as a wee experiment. And obviously I wasn't happy with this experiment, so I turned my cost per click down to 5 cents per click, and you can see I got far more than double the views for that. I got much better, and my adverts were shown for all the day. And at this point I had about 200 listings that I was advertising. So once you've gone through a few days and you're happy that your daily stats are looking okay, then you want to go into the 30-day stats. Now, clicking on the headers at the top of each of the graphs shows the individual graphs for that heading. So if you want to know how many impressions you had or how much money you made, what days you were making that money on, then you can click on the headers to have a look at that. But what we want to scroll down to is the list of the individual listings. The headers at the top of each column can be clicked on. So basically you can order your listings this way. If you want to find out which is getting the most impressions, which is costing you the most money, which is getting you the most sales, you can order these that way to have a quick look. But one of the best things I find in these stats is if you pick one of the listings that's been doing really well and click on searched terms, this gives you a whole lot of new data. Here you get the searched terms that people used, what people searched into the search box, and then Etsy showed your listing for. And you also see why Etsy picked your listing. Your tag and your title, you might not have been aiming for these keywords, but you can see how Etsy can take one word from one place, another word from another place, and mush them together. For example, you can see here that Etsy showed me to people who were searching for a terrier figurine. Now, I was optimized for terrier sculpture and for dog figurine, but it took the one word out of each keyword and mushed them together to make me a new keyword. And you can also see on the right hand side, it tells you if a keyword for this listing has a high click-through rate or even a high sell rate. Now what a click-through rate means is for the number of impressions. Now an impression is just simply when somebody searches for a search term, all the things that show up in search, that's one impression. So say you can see 20 listings on that page. Each of those 20 listings get a one impression. So a high click-through rate is saying for each impression there's a high chance that the customer's going to pick you over all the other people. So a high click-through rate is actually a really awesome metric. It's saying that when you're found for that search term, when customers search for that search term and they see your item, they're likely to click on it. And again, a high sell rate means if you're shown, people are likely to click on it and they're likely to buy. So these search terms could be super important. So we want to look into these keywords, see if we can optimize more for them and see if they're worth optimizing for. And this might mean not only do you rank in promoted listings, but you'll also end up starting to rank in the free search, which gives you even more. This gives you free clicks. So if you find interesting and unexpected keywords that are worth looking into, you can dig a bit deeper in the Search Analytics beta. So you can scroll down to the exact keyword phrase that you were looking for. You can order them alphabetically. It can take quite a while if you've got a lot of keywords, but this is a good thing. So scroll down to the keyword phrase that you found and you can have a look at the number of impressions you were getting. And this is fantastic. If you're showing a lot of impressions, even when you were ranking quite low for this thing, then it tells you it might be a good idea to try and rank better because there is impressions, there are people searching for this term. And if you click on the number on the far right hand side, this shows you the number of listings that Etsy is showing for this keyword. And it shows you how well each of these listings is ranking and what in your tags and title it's using to get this keyword. So you can have a look for that term on that item that you found in promoted listings that had a high click-through rate. You can look and see how that's ranking compared to your other shop items, and maybe you want to optimize this title a little bit better to get it a boost, to get it seen more, because customers resonate really well with that item when it's searched for with that term. However, if your item's driving really good searches for different terms, it's doing well with sales and everything, then perhaps leave that alone. But if you're wanting to optimize for a keyword, what you want to be looking at doing is narrowing down, possibly trimming off some of your title, or if necessary, if you haven't got that keyword in the title, get the keyword in the title. If it's already in the title, you could experiment with moving it towards the start of the title. You could clip down the title to make the title shorter, and make sure your keyword's in your tags as well. And for the best boost, it has to be an exact match. So dog figurine is going to rank better for dog figurine than if you said dog sculpture figurine, which is terrible English anyway, but because there's an extra word in that keyword phrase, then it's less of an exact match. And then once you've made the tweaks, if you've changed your cost per click, if you've tried to optimize for some different SEO, leave well alone. Leave your promoted listings to run for another 30 days and then come back in, run through your analytics, rinse and repeat. I hope that helped. If you're interested, check out the other promoted listings videos in this playlist that tells you how to set up your promoted listings and even why you need promoted listings in the first place. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.